Okay, so today I will be making a testimony video. I tried to make this video so many times last night. It did not go correctly. There were a lot of hiccups. It wasn't saving, clips was being deleted. So I'm gonna retry. I'm going to retry today. I first want to start off by saying this is a trigger warning. Some of the things that I will be talking about is a lot, so I have to put a trigger warning out there. Also, if you are any of my family members, mom or sisters, brother, watching this, this is my testimony. I know some things y'all know, some things y'all don't know, but here I am to share everything. I'm gonna first off start by saying the first time I was sexually assaulted, I was 7. It was by my siblings' friend in this apartment that we used to stay in. That's the first time I was sexually assaulted or anything like that. The second time I was sexually assaulted, I was 8 by one of my brother's friends. It was the day after, it was on my brother's graduation day. My mom let him stay over and he sexually assaulted me. The third time I was sexually assaulted was by one of my cousins. That happened when I was like 10. I want to say it ended around the time that I was 11, around that age. The next, that leads me up to us moving. We had moved again my 7th grade year. Around that time, I was really depressed, really angry. I started to get into pornography. I got into that because I just hung around boys a lot. I always heard boys talk about it, so I just wanted to see what it was about. When I first watched it, I was not it was kind of nasty to me, and then I started watching the girls porn, and the feeling that I got watching that porn was the same feeling that I kind of got when I was younger. So for a while, I was just watching it, but then I would stop watching it, I would watch it, I would just stop. So then for a while, I just completely just stopped watching it. Around middle school, I was very angry, being suspended, fighting a lot, just a lot of pent up aggression. I will say my father wasn't very present. My mom was present, but my mom at the time kind of really lacked the emotional and the affectionate aspect. So it was just my dad is absent. My mom really doesn't do too much affection. She really isn't affectionate. So yeah, my freshman year of high school, I started dating a girl. That relationship was very toxic. Me and her started dating. I knew that homosexuality wasn't right, but I really didn't. I knew it wasn't right, but I wasn't really aware of it because I really never seen people in my life that were gay for real. In my family, there were gay people, but in my mind, I really did not remember it or kind of seen it present in my face. But growing up in a Christian household, we was told that it was a sin, and I proceeded to date her anyway. And I came out to my mom, and I remember me and my mom having a conversation. It was it's not right. And I remember we're just being so angry at my mom, why she can't accept me, why she can't love me, just stuff like that. Around that same time, I was depressed. I was just depressed in life, and being in a toxic relationship really wasn't making it any better. My freshman year is when I first attempted suicide. Actually, it was my second time attempted suicide. My first time was in 8th grade, but in 8th grade it wasn't really that deep. But in 9th grade, the cuts were very deep. It was a lot. So I just remember just being so depressed. Like, I was depressed. Around my 11th grade year of high school, my before we get to 11th grade, my 10th grade year in high school, like the summer before coming into 11th grade, I kind of got happier. I started talking to this boy that I knew from church, and I always kind of had a crush on him. So we were like talking, and that was bad. I did lose my virginity to him, and I remember just being so like regretful that I did that. Like, everything that happened with me and him after that, it just was like I just regretted it. Like, I didn't like that for myself at all. So I like, after me and him like stopped talking or whatever, I was just like, I'm not gonna have sex with nobody else. Like, I don't want to. Like, I don't like that feeling. Like, it just felt like icky and nasty. Then I got into a relationship my 11th grade year with this boy that I was close with, and it was bad. The relationship was bad. It was toxic, very like verbally, mentally, emotionally, like abusive. Like, it wasn't conducive for a young lady to be in at that time. Like, it was called all types of names, all types of stuff was like done to me, done towards me, said to me, like everything. And being in that relationship really made me depressed. I will say that at that time, I was not interested in having sex with anybody, because I just didn't want to. Like, I wasn't like really interested in that. But I was coerced into having sex with him, and I just remember like being in a blank space, like in a daze. And from that relationship, I had identified myself as gay. I was like, I don't want to date another boy. Like, the last two boys just kind of like took a really big toll on me, and it was just a lot. So at this point, I am dating girls. I came out to my mom. When I came out to my mom, my freshman year, I came out as bi. But around my junior coming into my senior year, I now came out as gay. And my mom really didn't have, like, she had the same response, but like it just was like whatever. I just remember like being depressed at this point. Like, I'm in toxic relationships. There was very like verbally, mentally, emotionally like draining, abusive, like not good, not healthy. My senior year, my depression really picked up, and it had worsened to the point where I was drinking a lot. Like, every day before school, after school, in between the lunch breaks, like I was drunk throughout the majority of the days. If I wasn't drinking, I was smoking like OD. And the first time I had a drink, I was 12. So now I'm like in my senior year of high school. I'm drinking a lot, I'm smoking a lot. I really have no motivation for class. I'm self-harming more, to the point where like it's noticeable. Like, I got caught self-harming, and I just started like doing it on my legs, like just anywhere to feel like the pain, like to make my pain go away, and to just put it on myself. I was angry, and around this time I was just looking for love, like in people. I was looking for love in things. I was looking for it in alcohol. I was looking for it in the smoking. I was looking for it in the relationship that I was in. I was looking for it in sex. Like, I was just looking for someone to love me. I was looking for someone to like see me, hear me. Around this time, I went to get a checkup by my pediatrician, and we were filling out like the little health screening form that you do. And I remember like it coming back, and it said that I had major depressive disorder. So my senior year of high school, I was diagnosed with major depressive disorder, which is like a severe depression. And I just remember just like being out of it. Like, I was just so depressed. Like, nothing, like I was happy for a moment, and then it just like immediately like went away. Nothing stayed, nothing lasted. My senior year, I started to get a therapist. And I just remember like feeling like, okay, I have an outlet, I feel good. And now it's time to get ready to like graduate, go to college, like, and I just remember still just being like so like depressed, like, and I'm like, okay, well, if I go to college, I got it out, like, I can get away from my home, I can get away from this, I can get away from that. And I went to school and I just hated it. Like, I was still smoking a lot, I was still drinking a lot, like, it just picked up. I wasn't going to class, like, I was just depressed. And there were so many times where I seen myself like dead, like I seen myself like dead, and my mom began to call like, hey, your daughter did not make it. Like, I seen my mom in tears. Like, there were so many times where I just seen myself like dead. And I remember like calling my mom one day and I'm like, I have to come home, like I need to come home. And she's like, okay. And I like started boohoo sobbing like over the phone. I'm like, no, I really need to come home. And she was like, okay, I'm gonna come get you. Around this time, like, I knew that I couldn't stay at school because it wasn't conducive. And I knew that, like, I was going through things that were, like, you genuinely, like, need help. You need to identify. I came home from school. I'm still, like, smoking and drinking, like, mixing pills, taking edibles, like, just anything to kind of make the pain go away. Like, I'm, like, looking. I just didn't look like myself. Like, I wasn't eating. Like, the weed was making me not be able to tolerate any food, so I wasn't eating. Like, there was a period where my body like just didn't have a taste for food, so I'm like throwing up everything. So at this point it's just bad. Like, it's just bad. It was bad, but I was home, so I felt like, okay, cool. Around this time we started to go back to church, and I remember like having so many like icks. Like, I don't want to go back to church, like people are gonna judge me. And this is what I'm saying in my head, like, what if people see my scars? What if people know this about me? Like, ew, like I don't fit in, like I'm dirty. Like, and I remember one day my pastor like called me to the altar, and she was ministering to me, and I just remember her like giving me a hug, and she was like, y'all need to pray for our youth. Like, our youth really be hurting, going through things. I remember her giving me a hug, and I remember just breaking down, crying, like sobbing like a baby. And I knew from that point on, like, oh, I need to start coming to church more. Like, that's what I needed. Like, I needed to be in the house of the Lord. Like, I needed to be somewhere where I could heal, where like I could hear the message, I could be set free. Like, there were so many things that I needed, and it's like I'm looking for them in people, and God was just showing me like it's here. So at this time, like, I started getting back into the ministry. I started like back doing multimedia. I started back praise dancing, and I was still kind of like depressed and like smoking and drinking, but like I kind of like locked in a little bit. So there would be pointed times in my life where I would smoke and I just would just start fasting. Like, I just started fasting. I literally started fasting. It would be like 2-3 months without social media, 6 months without social media. So it's like every time I would fast from social media, I would literally fast from smoking. So now this was like decreasing my appetite for smoking. It was like helping me. So now it's like I'm winging off of smoking, but like now the enemy is like tormenting me. Like, he's not allowing me to sleep. Like, he's showing me crazy dreams, scary dreams, like anything that you could think about. He's just like tormenting me. I remember not being able to sleep at home. Like I would literally stay up until like 5 o'clock in the morning, go to work at 7. Like, when I would go on break at work from 11, I would sleep from 11 to 1. When I came home at 5 o'clock, I would be up from 5 to 5, and I just was not sleeping. Or I would literally sneak in my mom's room and sleep in her bed. And for a while, like, he was tormenting me, and it was just so bad. And I remember like telling my mom, like, me and my mom having a conversation. I'm telling her, like, I cannot do this. Like, I can't. And I remember one day me and her went into a warfare, and from that point I locked in with God. Like, I will never say I didn't stop sinning. I won't say that. I wouldn't say that I didn't fall short, but I was so like aware that I wanted a relationship with God that I was willing to give up everything so that I could have that relationship. I started praying more. I started reading my word more. Like, I joined the intercessors, like, in my church, which required me to be up early. So I started like training my mind and my body to be in one accord with the Lord so that I could release some of this, like the trauma, the heartbreak, like so many things that I was holding in, so many things that I never like, spoke upon. And it is 2024. The last time I self-harmed was 2021. I have not self-harmed in 3 years. I have not dealt with depression in 3 years. I have not thought about killing myself in 3 years. I haven't dealt with the spirit of homosexuality or perversion in 3 years. Like, there's so many things that transpired within, like, that pandemic time. That time was so crucial because I just remember that being a time where I ran back to God and I literally needed him to be my everything. And to now, like, to now have a relationship with God where it's like he's my literal father. Like, I come to him like, Dad, I'm having a bad day. And I just wanted to come share this testimony because there's someone out here that's probably been through what I've been through. And I want you to know that it gets better. Like, this won't always be your story. This won't always be your battle. Like, trust God, lean into God, like, fast, pray, like, read your word, like, seek him day and night. Turn to him. When everything else fails, turn to God because he's going to lead you. He's going to guide you. And I know that God has been leading and guiding me in his direction for his purpose, for his season, for his calling, so that I can do his work. I don't think that nothing that happened to me was in vain. God knew that I was going to overcome some battles that some people weren't able to. And I really credit everything to God. Like, the blessings that I have, the favor that I have, the job that I have, like, even to reconcile me and my mother's relationship, to have me in a place of forgiveness with my father, to have me in a place where I can talk to my father, like, where I can forgive those who sexually assaulted me, or I can forgive those who hurt me, where I can go and ask for forgiveness to those who I hurt in those time periods. He has told me, like, I have to communicate more. I don't have to always be in isolation. I don't always have to be in defensive mode. I don't always have to be on go mode. Like, that I can have healthy friendships. I can have a healthy relationship. Like, just also entering me into my softness. Like, finally being able to be feminine. Finally being able to be a young adult. Like, a young woman. Like, dressing like a young woman. Carrying myself like a young woman. Not being so, like, boyish and tomboyish and, like, so many of those things. So yeah, I just had to come share my testimony because the enemy thought that he was not going to allow me to make this video. He thought I was going to be silent. No, I had to come repost this video because in the first testimony, I was a little ashamed of what I've been through. And how am I going to tell people I overcame if I'm ashamed or if I feel guilty? Like, my past is my past. Nobody can judge me. I did things that were not right. I've allowed things that were not right. I stood by while people did things that were not right. And I just allowed God to heal me. Like, heal me, deliver me, set me free. I allow him to change every aspect of my life, and I leaned on him more than ever. So this is my testimony video. I love y'all. Be blessed. Remember that battles don't last always. Trials and tribulations don't last always. If he brought you to it, he's going to bring you through it. And I'm a strong believer that God will bring you through these storms, these tests, these trials. You have to trust him. You have to give it to him. Fast, seek him, like worship, like saturate your room, saturate whatever your atmosphere is, that God can come and you can have an encounter with him. Warfare on your own behalf, like decree and declare some things so that the enemy know that you are God's property, and that the way you was once living, you won't live that way anymore, because the Father who you love is who you choose. So yeah, be blessed.